I turned 4, I asked my parents for a bike, and I got a little sister. Then, when I was 5 and a half, I asked for a puppy, but I got 2 twin brothers. And this year, I'm going to ask for another little sister, and maybe I'll get that bike.
First National Bank, believing in the community, preparing for the future.
Hello and welcome to Press Pass episode 11. I'm George Anderson, and joining me today is Lance Davis, Property Maintenance Officer with the City of Kennett. How's it going?
Been fine, George.
Okay, well I got you here today. I want to know if you can tell me a little bit about property maintenance, what all that entails.
Okay. Property maintenance entails a little bit about what we do is trash violations, which of course is household garbage.
Right.
We also have rubbish violations, weeds and grass clippings in the street, weed and grass in excess of 10 inches or more.
Okay.
Also, it goes along with your house. If house numbers have to be on the house 4 inches in height.
Okay.
We also go for if your house is in poor condition.
Mm-hmm.
That's also something like handrails, porches, dilapidated buildings, anything that might need to be condemned or may even need to be placarded as unsafe or uninhabitable for human occupancy.
Now, from what I understand, you guys have been staying pretty busy, writing a bunch of letters.
Yes, we've been busy. We actually, it's starting to get to be a busy time of year, which is unfortunately, as we've not had a very big winter.
Right.
And the warm weather, the grass is already starting to grow, already seeing some lawnmowers out running, which is a good thing. But our season is really, during the winter time, is mostly trash, whether it be loose or bag garbage. And then the summertime is mainly grass. You wouldn't think that there would be that much in town that need to be mowed, but there are lots that have to be written for people not mowing their lawns.
Right. And you said 10 inches on there, right?
10 inches or greater is what the limit is.
Okay. And you said something about rubbish a while ago, and as we were talking before, a lot of people might not understand what exactly that entails.
Rubbish, it's kind of a gray area, and it's up to the property maintenance officer. That's what rubbish is. Rubbish could be anything from a couch or a chair sitting in your front yard to miscellaneous items, or it could be, which we don't enforce this, but in our property maintenance book, it even describes a burn pile that's not been cleaned up.
Okay.
So it's pretty well whatever the property maintenance officer wants it to be in a certain sense.
Uncared.
Yeah. I mean, you have to use some discretion with that.
Right.
But in the property maintenance book, anything that, because there's rat harborage, which that could fall under, for as furniture. In Kennett, I've seen a lots of indoor furniture outside, and people don't understand that they cannot have indoor furniture outside. And
My couch on my front.
a lot of people say, well, I don't understand why we can't have that. We sit in it. Well, I understand that, but under the property maintenance code, it's considered rat harborage, and the indoor furniture cannot be used outside.
Right.
And that's one of the big things. It's not as bad this year as it was last year. I know we're just getting started in this new year, but last year I hit it pretty hard, and I think I've got the message out. I'm not trying to be too hard-nosed about things. I mean, I'm pretty lenient with people, and that's one thing I always tell people. Just call me and let me know, and that you're going to be working on it. If you're not going to get to it right away, that's fine. I'll work with you. But
right.
The main thing is to call. If you don't call and I have to go back, then you're going to go to court.
Right.
And I don't want to have to do that. The main goal with the property maintenance is to get the issue resolved.
Right.
We don't want to take anybody to court. And unfortunately, we seem like we have to do that more often than we need to.
Right. Why don't you give the viewers out there watching a little bit of a brief summary of how that process works? Somebody calls in a complaint, or you find it, or how does it?
Well, it can be either way. I actually go through each neighborhood, and I don't necessarily go by wards. I usually do a sweep of the town in 1 month. As I'm doing that, we also have complaints called in daily
Right.
that we have to go check. But once we find a property that is out of compliance,
Mm-hmm.
I go back to the office, and whoever's name the electric is in is who gets written.
Okay.
If it is a renter, the renter gets a letter of violation, and also the landlord gets a letter of violation. That's to let the landlord know what's going on, and also it's ultimately their responsibility.
That's
However,
what I ask in that situation.
yes.
basically.
However, with that being said, it is the responsibility of the person living there. So it's the tenant's responsibility to keep the place clean.
Right.
But ultimately, if all else fails, then it does fall back on the landowner. Once that letter is written, they're given 10 days
Mm-hmm.
to get the property in compliance. If the property is not in compliance within 10 days, we go back and take pictures, and then that property is cited for court.
Okay.
And then another week, approximately, depending on court schedules and things like that. But usually a week after that, then they're to appear in court. So about a 2-week process. It's not like, unfortunately, it's not like the police department. You don't get a ticket and go to court the next week or two. I mean, it's a kind of a lengthy process.
And the court there for that, that's Mr. Mauer over at City Hall, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
And, what is like the penalty for something like a violation?
Well, it depends. Usually on your first offense, Judge Mauer is pretty good, and a lot of people don't realize either, George, that once it goes into court, it's out of my hands. I can't do anything else. Once I have to send it to court, then it's done,
Right.
and it's up to the judge. And most of the time on first offenses, he's pretty lenient. If it's more than one offense, he may ask you to clean it up and come back next week to oppose the fine. But it varies from $50 to $250, and possibly higher.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had $250 fines, and also the same person get probation.
Mhm.
So, it varies case by case.
Right. Yeah, as it should. But I guess depending on the severity.
Exactly.
Well, we were talking beforehand, and you were telling me that there were several letters written last year.
We had over 1,000 letters, and going back, and again, this is a part-time job for me. My full-time job, I'm a firefighter for the city of Kent, so I work typically 3 days a week. And I work, I think it was 1,031 letters that I'd written last year, and I don't have the breakdown of that. I think it's been in the newspaper before, the breakdown of which, what letters were written for what. But I know that that is above and beyond what letters have been written in the past. And I'm not patting myself on the back, but the reason I bring that up is I don't want people to think that just because there's a new guy here, he wants to come in and be a hard-nosed, because that's not what it is.
Right.
We've got a town that is, we've got a lot of downtown work going on, trying to revamp the town, and we need to take pride in our town and keep it clean. And the only way that's going to happen is if the property owners and the tenants all pull together and keep it clean. Whether it's loose trash that's blown in the fence row behind your house, or whether you've got bags of trash stacked up in your garage up night because you don't have trash service. I mean, we all need to pull together and keep the town clean.
Right.
And that's the ultimate goal.
Now, who was doing this before you took it over?
Don Cannon was the last full-time property maintenance officer we had. He retired.
And how did you get to this position today?
Well,
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I started with the city of Kent in 2001 with the police department, dispatching. And I left there in 2002. I stayed with the city as a part-time firefighter. So I've been on the fire department part-time for 11 years total. And I went to the county in 2002 as a communications officer. And then in 2005, I stayed in the county. I was still a part-time firefighter for the city. And in 2005, I had a job offer for Lakeland County 911 coordinator. And took that and had that a year. And when I went in that job, I was honest with the guys and told them, that if anything ever come open with the fire department, that's what I wanted. That was my full time, that's what I always wanted to do, was be a firefighter. And thank the Lord that job opening happened, and I'm where I want to be. There's not very many people, George, that can say that they love their jobs,
Right.
And I honestly do. When I got on the fire department, it was one of the biggest achievements that I had made. Of course, everybody knows Scott Tudor, and me and Scott Tudor go way back, and he knows better than anybody that how bad I wanted on the fire department. But actually, when I got on, and when Don retired, I needed a little bit more income. Started a family, got a little girl, and like everybody else, we need a little bit more money.
Right.
So, and I was working on the farm at that time, and which I grew up on the farm, so I put in for the job and got it, and I'm proud I did, because I really truly enjoyed both of my jobs. I really did.
Earlier, you said something about dilapidated properties, porches, that kind of stuff. What about condemned properties?
Actually, right now, George, we're working with the city attorney and the fire chief, which is over the code enforcement and property maintenance office. And we're trying to work out a town meeting, open meeting with the landowners of condemned homes, which we have several in town. And kind of a quick briefing on how that works. Letters are written on condemned homes, and which there are certain criteria that falls under, which is just to name a few: broken windows, doors that are unsecured, roofs falling in, different criteria for that. But once a house is condemned, the letter is written, and they're given 30 days to either come in and get a building permit and start work on the property, or to have it torn down and come in compliance with the code. Unfortunately, we don't see a lot of response to that. So the next step will be a town hall meeting with those guys, with the property owners, and to try to get the property abated. And that's kind of a touchy subject, because a lot of people, even with just trash, people don't like you telling them what you can and can't do on their property, and especially with a home, whether it be dilapidated or not. People don't like to be told what they need to do with their property. Exactly. So that will be handled in a very gingerly manner, and will be done all legally. But that is one of the things that we're fixing to look into.
Okay. I guess when you get a little more information on that, if you get it to us up at the newspaper, we have to get a message out for you.
We sure can.
Okay. Is there anything else that you want to talk
The
about?
only other thing, George, I will ask that if a letter is written to you, make sure that you look to see who the letter is written by. If it's signed by Lance Davis, call Lance Davis. If it's written by Victor Mode, call Victor Mode. Those are two different offices. Victor is with the Code Enforcement Office, which handles with buildings, the building of buildings, or electrical inspections, gas inspections, things of that nature. If it's a property maintenance issue with trash violations or a concern of that nature, it'll be handled by myself, Lance. And that's the only other thing that I could really add.
Okay. Well, I want you to give the people out there watching the way to get a hold of you, whether it be contact by phone or email or something like that.
Okay. The best way you can get a hold of me, again, I'm part-time, so you can call me at the office, which is 573-888-3005. If I'm not there, just leave a message, and when I get available, I will sure respond to your phone call. Don't hesitate to call. That's why I'm there. Anything, there's no silly phone calls, so call for whatever you think you need to call for. Give me a call.
All right. I guess that'll be about all we have for today.
Okay, George.
I appreciate you stopping by.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. And for anybody out there who wants to get a hold of us here at the Democrat, you can stop by at 203 First Street, give us a phone call at 888-4505, or shoot me an email at ganderson@dddnews.com. I appreciate you stopping by and giving us a watch, and thanks again, Lance, for stopping in and telling us a little bit about property maintenance.
Thank you.